host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live from the 704 once again for episode 106 of the 815 Exchange. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, new location unlocked. We are back at the Blue Couch. The Blue Couch has returned. Now, it's not as comfortable as the Black Couch, but the Blue Couch is back. So for people that were fans of the Blue Couch, we are back at the Blue Couch. It's not the same Blue Couch, but it is another Blue Couch. Also, we got a blue background, all right? We got the blue bricks in the background. I don't know what it looks like because the lighting, I'm not going to lie, we're going to have to work on it. But it is what it is for now. But, yeah, we're back. Welcome back to the 815 Exchange. Welcome back to the Blue Couch. Welcome back to, some familiarity. And this should probably tell you that summer's over. Because, well, summer is over. Technically, I guess you could say I have one more week of summer, but let's be real, summer's over. Went out with a bang this weekend. If you follow me on my social medias, which are in the description, along with timestamps, which is everything you need, as I always say, can be found in the description. So whether that is my social media, so if you're keeping up with my stories, you know I had a very, very interesting weekend, especially on Saturday. And social media links and timestamps. So if you want to skip ahead to the MLB segment, hear me talk about the Yankees in pain or Tatis popping or whatever it is, if you want to see me talk about what happened in entertainment, whatever it is, feel free to skip ahead. Timestamps are included. And as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, summer's over, but we still got plenty to talk about here on the 815 Exchange. And I always go into these, and I'm like, I wonder what I'm going to talk about. And then suddenly, on Sunday, things just spawn. Oh yeah, by the way, we're back recording on Monday, so it's just everything's back, right? Everything's back. Summer's over, everything is back. But Lord, I'll miss summer because it was one of the greatest summers of my life. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this intro has been way too long. Combat Sports. Of course, the headliner this week, we're going to talk about, we got some predictions this week, by the way, but we're going to start off talking about the UFC Fight Night, which was headlined, of course, by Marlon Chito Vera and Dominic Cruz, the legend. I believe Chito's good. Some people think Chito's like a world beater. I don't think Chito's a world beater, but he had a very, very impressive performance against Cruz, though Cruz didn't look awful. He did look awful before he took that head kick that put him to sleep. But at the end of the day, I still think Dom is done. I think he's done. He's never going to be Dom is never going to be what Dom was. That's just the unfortunate, if you're a Dom fan, truth of the matter. Dominic Cruz is never going to be peak Dom. He's past his prime. It is what it is. The fight game has passed him. Chito is on the rise. Dom is on the fall. Chito did what he was supposed to do. Straight up, did what he was supposed to do, advances to that next level. He's getting very, very close, Now, I think he was, 5th? So, yeah, it should be top 5 guys, in my opinion, for him from this point out until he's proven not to be. And he should be mixing it up with those guys. So we can find out if he's really who a lot of people say he is and really who Marlon Chito Vera thinks he is. We can find out if he's really the truth. But Dom, listen, won a bad performance. You're not like BJ Penn, but listen, it's done. Dom, retired, go back into commentary or whatever, but the fight game is past you. It's okay. Enjoy your Hall of Fame nomination and eventual induction. Also on this card, I saw GM3 win by sub, and that was really only I saw Nina Nunes, so I'm hitting Nunes' wife. She also won against Cynthia Calvillo. And yeah, that was really kind of the only major. It wasn't the craziest. We didn't go 10 for 10. It wasn't another 10 for 10 week where we had to finish every year winning, but Vera Cruz was pretty interesting. And Vera gets the round 4 head kick KO. But some interesting news. I said last week that Bo Nickel was going to be on your screens fighting on Tuesday. And hopefully I did my best to hype up Bo as possibly the top prospect in all of MMA, potentially. And he backed it up. He made quick work of Borrega. He murked him. There's nowhere else to say. He murked him. Borrega, I don't know why he went in for that flying knee kick against a dude who is arguably the second best wrestler on the planet or at the very minimum, third best wrestler on the planet at his weight class. I don't know why. 3-time NCAA champion, a Hodge Trophy winner. U23 gold medal. Like, I don't know what you were thinking, but I digress. Bo Nickel, Merckx Borrega, he's up next, man. He's up next. If that streak, because his grappling and wrestling skills are going to take him very, very far. He's just got to be able to take a punch and be able to be a good striker. And he's got championship potential. But yeah, I'm very, very excited about Bo Nickel, in my opinion. Arguably the top prospect in all of MMA. Also, this week we do have a UFC event coming up. I do not know. I think it might be UFC 278. Let me actually look that up. 270. Is it UFC 278? I kind of want to see if I guess that. That would be... Wow, I'm elite. UFC 278. Just the skill, the talent. Yes, we got UFC 278 coming from Vegas this next week. Of course, it is headlined by the pound-for-pound king, the Nigerian Nightmare, Kamaru Usman, returning. He's wiped out every single competitor. He is cleaning out that division. I think he really has one name, even though he already beat Leon Edwards, but this is like the real actual rematch. That was a little bit more weight because Leon's gotten a lot better, and it feels like he's been waiting for a title shot forever. But, yes, Kamaru versus Leon Edwards. Not that Leon doesn't have a chance. We know anything can happen in the UFC, and anything can happen in MMA, and really just in sports, anything can happen. But I got the Nigerian Nightmare. He's pound for pound for a reason. I don't think Leon is that much. I don't think he got that much better, and I don't think Usman's going to regress, at least yet. So, yeah, I got the pound for pound king getting it done. But we do have Usman and Leon coming up. Also in the co-main event, we do have Paulo the Eraser Costa Brancha. He's returning. He's back. Costa's back. He's taking on Luke Rockhold, who for some maybe pound for pound most handsome, pound for pound, Clark Kent matchup. But I got the Eraser. Luke is just he's not him anymore. He did have the title, he'll be a Hall of Famer, but he's not him anymore. Paulo, even though it's been a long absence, I think he's still got the goods. What else? Okay, yeah, Jose versus Merab. I think Aldo actually wins this too. I think Jose is going to finally hold it down for the old heads, for that old generation. I think Jose's finally he's gonna hold it down. I think they get a win here. And he beats Merab because Aldo won his last fight very, very impressively. Showed that he's still got plenty left in the tank. And I think Aldo gets it done versus Merab. But it should be a very interesting UFC 278 card, along with a whole lot of other things happening this weekend, starting on Friday, which we'll talk about somewhat into the entertainment segment. Boxing. Teofimo Lopez made his debut at 140 against Pedro Campa. And it wasn't Teo's most impressive performance, but you know what? He's back in the win column, and that's all that matters. He got the TKO in round 7. Again, like I said, it wasn't his most crisp performance. It wasn't even the best of Teofimo Lopez, but he did enough. He got the job done at the end of the day. Is he ready for the Jose Ramirez's, the Josh Taylors, the Cantrells, the so on and so forth? We'll see. It remains to be seen, but I think I'd rather him fight that level of guy than him kind of take a Campa level guy. Like, he was supposed to get Campa up out of here. Like, it was basically a tune-up fight. This was a very much so, not even really a test. This is, all right, let's just get established with a win type fight to take. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But Teo at 140, it's where he's going to stay. I don't think he's going back down to 135, and we'll see how he can do against the elite. But, again, not his most impressive performance, but he did what he had to do to get the job done. Of course, this weekend, like I said, everything is happening this weekend. Back to school, people returning back to campus. Summer officially being over. UFC 278 and Alexander Usyk versus Anthony Joshua 2. Can Joshua do it again? Of course, he's been through this before. Lost to Andy Ruiz, lost his heavyweight titles. Then came back better. Beat Ruiz, took the titles back. Once again, loses to Usyk here. Loses his titles. And now he has a chance to regain his titles again. And this is really, at this point, this is for the #1 heavyweight in the planet. #1 heavyweight in the world. Title. Since Tyson Fury retired officially this year, we'll see if it sticks. But officially, Tyson Fury has retired. He's relinquished his belts. This means that this is for the de facto #1 guy. Of course, Usyk top 3 pound for pound, depending on who you ask. The former undisputed cruiserweight champion looks to be seeking undisputed heavyweight champion, which I'm not sure has been done, maybe by like Holyfield or maybe one other person. But yeah, undisputed in both cruiserweight and heavyweight would be insane. That's what Usyk's, on the line for. Joshua, again, looking for redemption. Familiar territory for him. Has he gotten better? Has he made the necessary adjustments to once again become heavyweight champion? And which would be really impressive to add, again, another instance of him, coming back better. I think that would almost add to his legacy rather than he had, beaten them every time. It would almost add to the story of lost it, got better, lost it, got better, and got him back. So I think it'd just be a very, very intriguing story. And of course, you got the Ukrainian situation that Usyk's carrying on his back. So it should be very interesting. If I was a betting man, I would probably pick Oleg to get it done, just because I think he showed the necessary skill to get it done, and he's such a smart fighter. Besides just the skill level, and I don't know if Joshua is just good enough, which sounds crazy to say at this level. I just don't know if Joshua has the skills to outbox Usyk or even try to get into a firefight. I don't know if he has that ability. So if I was a betting man, I think Usyk retains, but it should still be very, very interesting. You can let me know who you got in Usyk versus Joshua 2. Now, we are going to move over to where shall we go? Let's go to soccer. Let's go to soccer and knock this out of the way, all right? Let's get this out of the way. Before we talk about the disaster in Manchester, let's talk about Paris Saint-Germain. The most controversial club in world football is the team in Paris, of course capped by a GOAT, a Brazilian legend, and one of the most influential players probably of this time, and the Prince of Paris, and probably, if not already, future best player on the planet. Now, last week we talked about Messi and Neymar getting off to flying colors and looking like the Messi and Neymar of old. The dynamic duo was back and they were in top form. Well, once again, PSG butchered their league opponent Montpellier 5-2. But the bigger story came from the return of Kylian Mbappe. Now, we have sang Mbappe's praises, but I will not be singing them this week, even though I don't think this is as major of a deal as I think people just want Mbappe. They don't like him, all right? I'm going to be straight up. People do not, there's plenty of people that do, but only when he's doing well. But I think Mbappe is probably leaning more towards on the hero-villain scale. Outside of France, he is probably leaning more towards the villain side of the scale. Not because of his actions, honestly, because he really doesn't do that much that's villainous. It's just that people do not like him because he is either a threat to Messi and Ronaldo, so he alienates those fans. He pissed off Real Madrid because he didn't go there after saying that was his dream. He's a villain. He's a villain right now. And I will say I don't really agree. Even though I don't think that would have been a scoring situation, I think they would have lost possession in my opinion. I think a lot of people were calling that a tap-in when he stopped running on the counter-attack after they get past him. Again, I don't want to see that attitude. I think that was ridiculous, but I don't think they were scoring. And by the way, Hakimi should have definitely passed that back to Messi in the middle and let Messi get on the score sheet there. But nonetheless, of course, people will bring up the missed penalty. He's missed like 2 penalties in the past 2 years. And the only reason we're even mentioning him missing a penalty is because of what happened, right? The controversy and the fact that he missed one on a big stage at the Euros, and that was like a big deal, right? So that's the only reason we're even really like whoever PSG want to put as a penalty taker, I think they're fine. Whether it's Mbappe, whether it's Neymar, whether it's Ramos, even though he's not a great penalty taker, even if it's Messi, it does not. I think they're fine. Either way, he missed a penalty. He came back. He got a goal. He's 1 for 1 for the year, so we'll see what happens. I don't think there's this like big drama thing going on with PSG. I feel like the situation is kind of being blown out of proportion a little bit. People seem to think that the money and power has gone to Kylian's head, which is a ridiculous thing to say after literally one game and one instance. But then again, I think there's just a wind shot for Mbappe. Didn't like the attitude. Of course, he might have some personal problems that are being reported going on. I won't really trust anything that people are reporting because they're just trying to, stir up clicks. As always with PSG and as always with a team with a lot of superstars. But we'll see what happens, and hopefully Mbappe can get back to form. First match back from injury. Now, let's talk about the disaster in Manchester. Manchester United is pathetic. They are pathetic right now. There's no other way to describe the Red Devils besides pathetic. They are pathetic. Brentford, stumped them out in the first 38 minutes. They didn't score. 38 minutes. Stumped them out in the first 38 minutes, 4-0. Didn't even need a score for the rest of the game. 4-0 was the end. It was done. And I'm not putting this on Ten Hag. I'm not. He has been thrown in what is clearly an awful situation because we've seen what he's been able to do previously, and it's poison. It is just poison at Manchester right now. While Man City sings in bliss, Manchester United drowns in failure. I tweeted out that every time we think Manchester United has reached a new low, has reached rock bottom, they find a way to just go lower, to dig lower. And it seems like we're stuck in this cycle of Manchester United just digging lower and lower and lower. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. The way that team is playing right now is pathetic. De Gea had one of his worst performances I've ever seen him have. Makes you kind of question why they did not just go with Dean Henderson. The defensive breakdowns, the lack of scoring, it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. I feel for Manchester United fans because it's just terrible. It's just absolutely terrible football, and yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see if they can turn it around, but it's just been a nightmarish start to the season, a nightmarish start to Ten Hag's season. And I think part of it goes back to the Glazers because y'all didn't spend a lick of money trying to get that team better. So yeah, now you're reaping the benefits of not spending money with a team that caliber. So yeah, it's just pathetic. Staying in the Premier League, Chelsea and Spurs, a lot of controversy there. Reece James is a monster, okay? One of the best fullbacks in world football today. Scored again. Koulibaly also scored his first goal for Chelsea. But this game looked like it was done. It looked like it was done. But then we had to be lauded in controversy. Anthony Taylor continues to be the worst referee in soccer. He's the Manchester United of refs. He sucks. He's terrible. If he could be relegated, he should be relegated. Honestly, I don't like to wish people being fired, but he should probably be fired because I've never seen a positive Anthony Taylor headline. Like every time I hear about Anthony Taylor, and it's way too frequent, right? Because if you're a good ref, either you're known for being a good ref or we don't hear about you at all. Which neither of those two things apply to Anthony Taylor. He's just a terrible, terrible referee. He's terrible. Awful. Questionable calls lead to Spurs getting some goals. And then Harry Kane does some Harry Kane things in the 96th minute. And yeah, now they'll be into the draw. Chelsea feels like they lost points they shouldn't have lost. Conte and Tuchel look like they were about to fight. They're talking over social media. Listen, Tuchel looks like a serial killer. And we all know Don Antonio is about that life. So I'm here for it. Listen, we love the rivalries. We'll see what happens next time Spurs and Chelsea meet up. But yeah, that was very spicy. Very, very spicy in the Premier League. A lot of stuff going on. It's been a very, very interesting start in world football. Now for entertainment. And well, Harley Quinn. Okay, so Harles is back doing her thing. This week, who would be joining the gang on the adventure? None other than Swamp Thing. Of course, Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy is always an interesting dynamic, whether that's in the comics or really just here in this form of media. Because of the power relation and their connection to the green, and that's what this episode was all about. And listen, I love the way they kind of make these characters kind of caricatures of like dramatic versions of themselves. Swamp Thing was done very, very well. Very, very well. Of course, also joining them was Nora Freeze. Recently unfrozen. Dr. Freeze's wife, was on her hot girl. All right, she was on her hot girl, and it was very, very enjoyable to watch. She ended up hooking up with Swamp Thing. They were like married or whatever. It was crazy, normal Harley Quinn craziness. Selena and Bruce went to therapy. That was an incredible segment. They continue to be kind of like separated while trying to figure out their feelings towards each other. But at the end of the episode, the most shocking revelations happened, and that was Bruce, or Batman, has Phil. He has Phil. What's gonna happen? There's no. Are they gonna kill Bruce? Is Ivy going to come and Harley? Are they going to kill Bruce Wayne? So it should be interesting. I like the way they've kind of incorporated the Bat family while also keeping with the Harley Quinn, main cast in this season. It's a great show. Hopefully it doesn't get axed by Discovery or whoever's running the show at Warner Brothers. Hopefully it doesn't get axed, because Harley Quinn has been a great, 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 great show. Also, great shows. Once upon a time, before season 8 of it came out, there was this great, I would dare say even legendary show that the entire world watched called A Game of Thrones. It was one of my favorite shows. Well, the prequel comes out this Sunday. Yes. Finally, it's time for a Dance of Dragons, or soon. But first, we're going to talk about the House of the Dragon and learn a little bit more about our dear Targaryens. Very, very excited for House of Dragon. By the way, HBO is not telling me to plug this, even though, HBO, hit the boy's phone. My contact information you can find. But yeah, House of the Dragon, I'm very excited to see. Very excited to check it out. Honestly, GOT has a very extensive, incredible lore. Like, there is incredibly deep lore going back. Like, they could have started even further than where they were. Just so many intriguing storylines to go. Like, we got the end of the lore, obviously, as they ran out of, books to, cover. So, now going back, it's just, there's so much good stuff, so many good stories to tell, and how that could be adapted is so intriguing. So, very excited for House of the Dragon and just kind of see what that's about. Very, very happy. And of course, we'll talk about that next week on episode 107. Now, music. Young Nudy drops. That's what we're going to talk about in music this week. Now, some other people drop, but we're going to talk about my boy Nudy, alright? Because I'm going to give EA Monster, I was going to give this something extravagant, but I'm going to be humble. And I'm going to relax the rating to a 9.3, but still makes it one of the best albums of the year. Because it was one of the best albums of the year. This was, I almost want to say perfect album. It's so enjoyable. It's exactly it's so refreshing. So refreshing. It's exactly what I needed. It's like he'd been gone for a while. Nudy had been, he dropped, some future verses here and there. But this was exactly, in the words of Stephen A. exactly what I needed. And it just, I could have chosen any of these 10 songs, honestly. But yeah, Sick of Slime, Kit Kat were definitely ones that caught me off of the first 2 listens. But yeah, it's such a good album, bro. It's such a good album. Nudy is such a good, he's that little monster, man. He's Dr. Evil. He's him. He's him. Nudy is him. He's him. His sound is just so different from everybody else's. And he does it at such a high level, man. He just does it at such a high level. I can listen to him rap about, I could do it for seemingly ever. Don't know if I'm going to get sick of it. Because I definitely wasn't sick of it on this album. 9.3, it was fantastic. I'm not even going to say too much. Y'all just go listen to it. EA Monster, Young Nudy, one of the best albums of the year. It's not up for debate. MLB. I could talk about the Yankees being down. In fact, it's actually on my notes. So you know what? Let's get it out of the way. The Yankees are down horrendous. We cannot win a game. We're on a 68-win pace for the second half. We suck. All right, we suck. That's all I need to say. I don't even care to talk about us because we're fucking garbage. Judge is the king. He's the king of New York still, but we suck. We blew it. We're not World Series contenders. We're done. We're finished. The Yankees are done. Now, more importantly, Fernando Tatis popped. The man that was being hyped as the face of baseball last year, potentially, one of the leaders of the new school, pissed hot. Shocking news as Tatis popped for Corbinol, and he is now suspended for 80 games, which will take him throughout the rest of the year, and I think 40 or so games in the next year. So, great job. We were talking about that Padres super team, and it is dead. It's already dead, at least for the meantime. Now, I don't think Tatis has always been on the gas. I'm not going to sit here. I think he probably, everything he's done statistically up here, I'm actually not really that worried about him being, quote-unquote, on the gas for. This feels, and just because of the situation, this definitely feels like a player that was trying to get back as fast as possible. And not that Cloverball is like a healing agent, but just trying to get back that strength, get back, to what he was faster. I think he took it. I know he said it was for ringworm, but I think, he was, that pressure can get to people, and I think that pressure got to Tatis. And, he was worried, I need to knock this rust off so I can get back as soon as possible, and I can get back to, I'm not trying to waste any time. I want to get back to being Fernando Tatis Jr. And, took a shortcut. He got caught. He pissed hot, It's a shame because it's going to taint his legacy no matter how well he does from this point out. He's always going to have that asterisk. It's an asterisk that so many great baseball players seem to have, unfortunately. As it's just been an issue in baseball. It's an issue in sports, but it's an issue in baseball notably. And it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate that Tatis, one of the most exciting players in the game, one of the best players in the game. And for something like this to happen, it sucks. As soon as he was about to come back, because very, very much so looking forward to seeing what that Padres team could have done. But it's heartbreaking for San Diego. The guy's supposed to be the face of your franchise, and something like this happens. So. Just not a good look. We'll see what happens with Tatis and the rest of that Padres team. I guess it's good y'all got Juan Soto because I guess he's now the face of the franchise. Pujols threw it back. The machine threw it back against Milwaukee yesterday. Hit 2 home runs, 688 and 689. So only, I think, 11 away from 700, which, again, we're hoping. If he can get that by the end of the season, will be a great moment. But yes, the machine gets 2 home runs. St. Louis gets the win, 6-3. They've been pretty good. I gotta admit, they've been pretty good coming out of that trade deadline. Once again, I do not know why we traded Monty to them, but I digress. Pujols throws it back, gets 2 home runs versus Milwaukee. More tragic news for Red Sox fans this time. Chris Sale broke his wrist. Listen, he's one of the greatest pitchers of this generation, but the man cannot stay healthy to save his life right now. If you looked up injury prone in the dictionary, a picture of Chris Sale would be right beside it. The man he's got glass bones. He fell off his bike this time, breaks his wrist, he's done for the season after he literally came back maybe a month ago. It's down horrendous. He's making an incredible amount of money to pitch very little innings, by the way. So I guess getting the bag, but you got to pay for medical expenses because he's always injured. But again, heartbreaking for Red Sox fans. As a Yankees fan, I'm not too. It is what it is. But as a baseball fan, it sucks because Sale, again, like I said, one of the best pitchers of this generation, but has been very, very unlucky with the injuries these past couple seasons. And just unfortunate to see. Breaks his wrist on a biking accident, not even in play. It's so rough. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the Roundup. And we get to talk motorsports, ladies and gentlemen, though F1 is still on their summer hiatus for one more week. Even though I've been doing a deep dive. I have fallen into Formula One. I'm considering getting Motorsport Manager. So if any of you watching this have played Motorsport Manager, tell me how good it is before I download this on my phone or on my laptop. Please tell me, because I'm very hardly considering it. Because, I've been on an F1 deep dive. But we're going to talk about NASCAR, because we were in Richmond. And while it's not by any means one of the most exciting races of the year, it's a great time to be Kevin Harvick. He goes back-to-back. It took 2 weeks for Kevin Harvick to break his drought and then become a championship contender, just like that. But I guess that's what you do when you're one of the greatest of all time, and that is what Kevin Harvick is. First ballot Hall of Famer. First ballot 60-win mark he hits. Tied for 9th all-time with Kyle Busch now in the history of NASCAR Cup Series. So congrats to Harvick. He gets that second win in a row. And again, like I said, Harvick just seems to catch these hot streaks. Even at 46 years old, when Harvick gets hot, there's very few better than him. And it seems like he's hot right now. And he's getting hot at the right time. Now, let's talk WNBA. We do not talk about the WNBA enough here on this channel. So let's talk about it because they reached the end of their regular season. And we had some really big news. You know, Sue Bird, last week we could have talked about. Sue Bird played her final home game. So Sue signed off, one of the greatest of all time. And we also have Sylvia Fowles. But we'll get to her. But before that, I want to talk about two of the premier teams in the WNBA, and of course I'm talking about the Seattle Storm themselves and the Las Vegas Aces. The Aces looking to wrap up the title, I guess, technically of regular season champions, or at least best record in the regular season, and they just did that with the 109 to 100 point win over the Storm. But what I wanted to talk about is Chelsea Gray has been outrageous, and for a while, but she has been outrageous. Every time the Aces, even though you've got Aja, who many people consider arguably the best player in the world, and she had 25, 10, and 5 in this game and went off. But every time they need a big performance or somebody to come through in the clutch, Chelsea Gray makes it happen. 33, 7, and 9 for Chelsea here in this final game in the regular season. She's just phenomenal. She is absolutely phenomenal. I think regardless of gender, one of the clutchest, one of the best big game players in the world today. Chelsea Gray, she just always delivers. She's like Amazon. She always delivers. For Seattle, Jackie Young completed the duel by pouring on 38 points herself in one of the best games. You know, regular season finale, but honestly, this is one of the best regular season games I think we've had all year. Jackie had 38. Breanna Stewart, another person who could arguably consider one of the best players in the world. Yeah, she had 21 and 15. Everybody came through. Kelsey Plum, 23. The stars were out and shining in this game, and yeah, that's why I had to headline it. Once again, first off to brag about Chelsea Gray, but also because everybody delivered in this game. If you wanted to watch a WNBA game this year, I would highly advise if you could go back and watch this Aces versus Storm game, because it was just fantastic. All right, it was fantastic. And to end off the WNBA portion here, Sylvia Fowles, the legend, one of the greatest centers in the history of women's basketball, called it quits. She's going to go be a mortician now, so interesting career choice. But congrats to Sylvia, great career, 2 championships, 2 finals MVPs, 1 MVP, 4 Defensive Player of the Years, an 8-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, 10-time All-Defensive Team. So many accolades. Oh yeah, and by the way, a 4-time Olympic gold medalist. You will find very few players and very few big centers. I was going to say big women, because you know we say big men in the NBA. And I felt very weird about saying big women, so that's why it came out so awkward. But very few centers in the women's game more decorated than Sylvia Fowles. So yeah, absolutely one of the greatest of all time. Future WNBA Hall of Famer, jersey's probably getting retired the whole 9. But yeah, congrats to Sylvia on a great career, and I wish her the best in her future endeavors. Also, ladies and gentlemen, the NFL is back. Not the regular season, but, you know, it's fantasy season, draft season coming up. I got mine in, I think, a week from now, or 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. But the preseason is back, and young quarterbacks have actually been doing pretty well, if I say so myself. We've had some very impressive performances. Lawrence, besides that start, got it together. Zach Wilson, not so hot. Trey Lance did well. Even Jordan Love did well. Kenny Pickett shined. Young quarterbacks were showing off, besides Zach Wilson, who got injured. We thought it was a torn ACL. Only gone 2 to 4 weeks. We'll see if he can get back to, you know, his MILF-loving ways. However, I do want to highlight George Pickens, because the Steelers did it again. Potentially. Actually, you know what? I'll go on record. Unless Pickens does something stupid, which he couldn't, I think they did it again. I think that was a steal for them in the second round just because of how they develop receivers and how naturally talented George Pickens is. He was a star in that first preseason game for Pittsburgh, and yeah, he's been showing out during training camp. He was showing out in preseason. Listen, I think he's one to watch. All right, George Pickens, that is one to watch. I know me and Eddie, did that kind of sleeper segment a long time ago. If I did it today, I'd probably go George Pickens as one you need to watch as a potential sleeper, because he could definitely have a breakout year. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Pickens. We'll see what happens as the preseason starts getting going for real now. And yeah, what happens. Of course, there's going to be some injuries, unfortunately, in the NFL. But yeah, that's the preseason. And welcome back to football. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed. But that is all for episode 106. And for now, Ocho signing off.